simply no single area holding so much of charm and beauty and the good things of life as California.
The sun is shining brightly, the stars are out. Welcome to California. For a long time, the drab metropolises of the East dominated the country's activity. But after World War II, a society yearning for conformity and pleasure began to shift. With cars becoming the preferred mode of transportation, the question arose, why not drive? And why not drive far? Blessed with an idyllic climate, the ocean, and economic opportunity, California started its unstoppable ascent in the 1950s. This golden land also caught the eye of American sports leagues, including the NBA. In 1967, professional basketball's premier competition only had 2 franchises on the West Coast. For $2 million, a hefty sum at the time, Bob Breitbart brought the NBA to San Diego. This vibrant city, located about 2 hours from Los Angeles, had everything to entice the league. The team adopted the name Rockets, a nod to the region's rapid growth. While the team's first season was a disaster, good news soon followed. Thanks to a coin toss win, the Rockets drafted future legend Elvin Hayes in 1968. On the court, things improved, and the Rockets even made the playoffs. But off the court, disaster loomed. At the time, the NBA was locked in a bitter battle with the ABA, pushing most teams, including the Rockets, to the brink of financial ruin. In 1970, the owners had an emotional press conference. "We can't pay for the arena and have received an eviction notice. There's nothing we can do. The Rockets will have to leave San Diego." A year later, it happened. The team relocated to Houston, a city whose name was a perfect fit. After all, it's home to NASA. In Texas, the Rockets steadily improved, yet a little something was always missing. Or rather, a big something. In 1978, the team brought in the towering Moses Malone, who led them to the 1981 NBA Finals. Facing them was a formidable opponent, the Boston Celtics, the NBA's dominant force.
I don't think the Celtics are really that great. I think they just do a lot of things to make them great. When the game get down to the line, seem like all their players play together and come together, don't make too many mistakes. They know what they got to do. But Boston can be beat.
Despite their courage and confidence, the Rockets were no match for Larry Bird's Celtics. The defeat was clear-cut, 4-2. Malone remained relentless, winning another MVP title in 1982. However, in a surprising move, Houston decided not to renew his contract. Facing financial constraints, the Texans opted to rebuild and let their star move to the Philadelphia Sixers. The outcome was immediate. The Rockets finished last in their conference the following year. But in reality, this was part of their plan. For the 1982-83 season, Houston's strategy was simple: lose as many games as possible. This cunning tactic paid off when they won a coin toss and secured the first pick in the NBA draft. In their mind, no doubt, their savior had a name: Ralph Sampson.
Ralph Sampson. College recruiters call him a franchise. A senior on the Harrisonburg High School squad, he is 7 feet 3 3/4 tall and still growing. He led the Blue Streaks to the Virginia State AA championships as a junior, and his stats speak for themselves. Nearly a 30-point-per-game scoring average, nearly 20 rebounds a game. More than just tall, he's a talented athlete with fluid, agile moves that put him literally head and shoulders above the 70 or so high school seniors in this country, 6'10" and above.
A couple pro scouts have been here, I've been told, but I think I'm going to go to college and get an education and then go into the pros.
Virginia, 1979. The state hadn't seen such a basketball prodigy since Moses Malone a few years earlier. Remarkably, the two towering players grew up just 2 hours apart, and fame came early for both of them during their high school years. Standing over 7'3", Sampson possessed an offensive arsenal far more refined than Malone's. As one of the most sought-after athletes in college sports history, the lanky center ultimately joined the University of Virginia in 1980.
Sampson with the ball. Oh, he threw that one on the deck. Sampson outside. That's the
I get the ball and I looked and then I looked up. I'm like, oh my God, this man is huge.
15-14 Virginia. Double teaming him. Sampson showing.
Over 4 years, Sampson graced the cover of Sports Illustrated 6 times, a record at the time. To understand the hype surrounding Ralph Sampson, you must revisit the early 1980s. Back then, big men dominated the game, but Sampson was unlike any other collegiate center. Tall and slender, he moved with a fluidity that posed serious problems for slower, bulkier opponents.
You must have practiced for many, many months, years, to learn how to dribble as well as you do. You handle the ball like a guard coming down the floor.
Well, I try to. I don't want to limit my game to just inside, like to shoot the outside jump shot, or even bring the ball down the court when there's an opening. When I was younger, all I did was dribble the basketball around the streets and to the park and wherever else I was going, so I think it helped out a lot.
By 1982, the NBA was already beckoning Sampson. That year's first draft pick was decided by a coin toss between the Lakers and Clippers. Rather than risk playing for the hapless Clippers, Sampson chose to stay in college another year. The result? The prestigious Los Angeles Lakers won the toss. You got it. Ralph Sampson came tantalizingly close to joining Magic Johnson and succeeding Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
At that time, I had a 50-50 chance. I didn't know where I was going to end up, and I figured I had a 100% chance at Virginia to be successful, get my degree, which I did, and stay another year.
In 1983, the Virginia center finally made the leap to the NBA. The buzz around his name was phenomenal. Ahead of the draft, the New York Times wrote, with his size and agility, Sampson could score like Wilt Chamberlain and win championships like Bill Russell.
Even Michael Jordan wasn't as big in college. In my generation, Ralph was the first great college superstar.
I have a big surprise for all of you. The Houston Rockets select Ralph Sampson, University of Virginia.
Ralph Sampson changed the NBA. There had never been any big man quite like Ralph Sampson.
Cooper on Sampson, gets help from T.R. Dunn.
They can hold on to the lead and play with intelligence. Sampson.
Without hesitation, Houston selected Sampson with the first pick. In addition to his undeniable talent, the center had miraculously avoided serious injuries despite a seemingly fragile frame. As a rookie, Sampson shone on the court, averaging 21 points and 11 rebounds per game, earning an All-Star selection and the Rookie of the Year award. Everyone agreed. The future of the NBA rested on Ralph Sampson's shoulders. Despite his phenomenal talent, Houston had little to support the rookie center. The 1983-84 season was another disaster, with the team finishing at the bottom of their conference. This deliberate losing strategy prompted the league to reform its draft system the following year. Why? Because in 1984, Houston once again won the first pick, and it was no ordinary one.
Hakeem will be your pick?
Yes, no question.
And Sampson will move to forward?
I'd be up to Bill Fitch.
You have such a problem now. You have two of the best big men to come out of college in the last 15 years.
Such a problem you should have.
This year, incredibly, the Houston Rockets have the #1 pick again and will pair Hakeem Olajuwon with Ralph Sampson.
The Portland Trail Blazers holding the second pick made the infamous mistake of passing on Michael Jordan. Their reasoning? They already had Clyde Drexler at the same position. Houston, meanwhile, took a radically different approach. Despite already having Sampson at center, the Rockets added another 7-foot big man, Hakeem Olajuwon.
I think that's going to be a good combination to play with Ralph. He's a very good player, and I like to play with him.
Hakeem is not enough words in the language to describe what he can do.
Hakeem Olajuwon is singularly the most incredible athlete I've ever witnessed, read about, and seen in person.
Nobody played like Hakeem Olajuwon. I mean, there was creativity. He was so nimble. He's near 7 feet tall, but he's shaking and shimmying, you know, with his classic dream shake. It was like ballet. I mean, it was really beautiful.
Good big man is hard to find, but that hasn't been the case over the last 2 years. The NBA draft in 1983, Ralph Sampson went to the Houston Rockets. And this year, Hakeem Olajuwon will join him there.
In 1984, the Twin Towers duo was born. Critics called Houston crazy for fielding two such tall players. Yet some, like Dallas coach Dick Motta, were more visionary. This front court will be considered as the greatest of all time. Motta wasn't wrong. The two players meshed perfectly, leading their team back to the playoffs in 1985. By the following season, the Rockets were a puzzle for analysts. Their dual center lineup presented a unique challenge. But was this just a spectacle or a recipe for success? By the mid-1980s, the NBA was undergoing a revolution. The struggling years of battling the ABA were long gone. The 1980s were defined by two teams. In the West, the flashy Los Angeles Lakers of the Showtime era, led by Magic Johnson, who had won titles in 1980 and 1982. In the East, there were the legendary and almost mystical Boston Celtics, led by Larry Bird, who had claimed championships in 1981 and 1984. At this point, rivals Johnson and Bird each had 2 rings. In 1986, America eagerly awaited another epic finals to break the tie between these two fierce competitors.
I'm pretty dismal for the Celtics' hopes this year.
The 1986 Celtics were a juggernaut, sweeping the Bulls 3-0, defeating the Hawks 4-1, and crushing the Bucks 4-0. This squad is often considered one of the greatest teams of all time. With defense, offense, fighting spirit, and a raucous home crowd, Larry Bird and his teammates seemed unstoppable. It was May 26th, the night of the 1986 NBA Finals. The men in green were ready, expecting to face the Los Angeles Lakers. But wait a minute. Just 2 years into their partnership, the Sampson-Olajuwon duo was already performing miracles. After finishing atop the Western Conference, Houston defeated the Kings and then the Nuggets. But a formidable opponent awaited them. The Los Angeles Lakers reached the conference finals with ease. The narrative seemed set. They would meet their Boston nemesis once again. But first, they had to get past the young and fearless Houston Rockets.
And if the Houston Rockets want to be considered amongst the NBA's elite, they're going to have to prove it against the Lakers in this series.
How do you feel the Houston Rockets match up against the LA Lakers?
Feel real good, because I'm sure we can beat them.
Despite his confidence, young Olajuwon was schooled by the veteran Abdul-Jabbar. The Lakers took Game 1 decisively. For them, dispatching the Rockets seemed like a mere formality.
What about it? They're the world champs, and they were the better ball club today. If we don't play better, this thing will be over in a hurry.
Olajuwon goes in, and it's a 6-point game.
Kareem blocked by Olajuwon. Not often. Worthy has it blocked by Sampson.
We're not attacking. We're all out of sync. We're all out of position. We're not thinking. No.
They've got Sampson being guarded by Kareem.
Here's Olajuwon, doubled by Ramberson.
It's over. The Houston Rockets have won both games at the Summit. Rockets have been riding the strong and determined shoulders of the NBA's latest phenomenon. Underdogs at the start, the Rockets now sense they can take their place among the league's best. Houston is ready to deliver a knockout punch tonight.
Incredible. Against all odds, the Rockets turned the series around, winning 3 straight games. Heading into Game 5, Houston was in the driver's seat. Just one more victory would eliminate the mighty Lakers and send them to the NBA Finals. But in Johnson and Abdul-Jabbar's house, the journey was far from over.
A run, we're going to jump, we're going to shoot, we're going to fight if necessary. Whatever it takes to win the ball game, we're going to do it, and we're going to win it.
We're not there yet, and we're not going to just concede it. It's going to be a very, very intensely fought ball game.
The first quarter went to the Lakers, the second to Houston, and so on. This nail-biting game was impossible to call. With just 1 second left, the score was tied at 112 to 112. Everyone assumed the high-stakes game would head into overtime. Bill Fitch called a timeout, seemingly a formality. After all, what could possibly happen in 1 second? The forum's crowd was barely paying attention. They had no idea history was about to be made.
Gray will inbound, 1 second on the clock. Sampson. It goes, it's over. A miraculous shot by Ralph Sampson. Off balance has given the Houston Rockets the Western Conference Championship and a trip to Boston for the NBA World Title.
I don't ask this question much, but how does it feel?
I think it's probably the best experience I ever had in my basketball career.
What about that last shot? Was that a planned shot, Ralph?
Well, it was only 1 second left, and I had to, do something with the plan play to come inside, and I had to get it up, and I got it up, and it went in.
To this day, Lakers players and fans alike wonder how it happened. With just a fraction of a second, Sampson managed to tip the ball in. The reigning champion Lakers were eliminated in unforgettable fashion. For Houston, it was on to the NBA Finals.
Here's a new question for you. Can you beat Boston?
Right now, we're going to enjoy this moment. Go home to Houston and enjoy the fans in Houston. Hello, Houston.
It's a great place to visit, but it's not a great place to go and play basketball.
Again, everybody, this is Johnny Most, high above courtside, here at the Boston Garden, where the Boston Celtics and the Houston Rockets get ready for basketball battle in game number 1 of the World Series of Basketball, the NBA Finals.
The Rockets are gonna fall tomorrow. Make it, D-Make, I love it. And Sampson, they're gonna crush you.
Right here, big old Ralphie boy. And we got good old Akimo right here. Here you go, Akimo.
Arrogant to the point of hostility, Celtics fans weren't wrong. Like in 1981, the valiant Rockets hit a Boston wall. They lost the finals 4-2. Still, the future seemed incredibly bright for the young Texans. At the time, Michael Jordan's Bulls had yet to rise. The Lakers and Celtics were aging. To many, Houston's Twin Towers represented the NBA's future. Yet, when Michael Jordan won his first title in 1991, the Rockets duo was a distant memory. Ralph Sampson's dazzling career took a tragic turn after the 1986 finals loss. Standing 7'4" and weighing just 220 pounds, injuries began to plague him. By 1987, the center could no longer maintain his dominance. Traded from team to team, he ended his career in relative obscurity in a minor league. Ralph Sampson's NBA phenomenon lasted just a few years, but what years they were. The Houston center was among the first to show that his position could be synonymous with skill and finesse. Though largely forgotten, Ralph Sampson had a tremendous influence on the NBA. His miraculous shot against the Lakers remains one of the most iconic moments in basketball history. Hakeem Olajuwon went on to lead his team to 2 championships in 1994 and 1995. After years of ups and downs, Houston finally sat atop the league.
Don't ever underestimate the heart of a champion.
Yet the memory of the Twin Towers left a bittersweet taste for basketball fans. The Rockets franchise, named after spacecraft, thought they had found their star in Ralph Sampson. A star he was, but a shooting star.